Spotify spent more than $1 billion to build a podcasting empire. The bet hasn't paid off. Spotify's $1 billion podcast bet turns into a serial drama. The prospect of podcast riches led to aggressive investments in celebrity deals and original programming for what appeared a sky's-the-limit media frontier. Spotify spent more than $1 billion to build a podcasting empire. It struck splashy deals with Kim Kardashian, the Obamas, and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. It paid $286 million for a pair of podcast studios and spent $250,000 and more an episode on exclusive shows to lure new listeners. The bet hasn't paid off. Most of its shows aren't profitable, according to people familiar with the matter, and the company has recently cut staff and programming to slow its losses. The company, which has struggled to report consistent profits, lost €527 million, equivalent to about $565 million, in the 6 months ending in June, on €6.2 billion in revenue. No one in the business is making much money on podcasts, but Spotify, which has spent far more on the medium than its rivals, has more to lose than most Spotify's competitors, including Amazon, Apple, and Google. Tech behemoths with their own audio streaming services have other, more profitable businesses. Source: really dumb idea to focus on a few splashy mainstream names. Successful podcast products cater to niche interests. That's their strength. You can listen to experts in their fields talking about something very particular for hours. Maybe it's news, maybe history, science, art, whatever you like. No one wants to listen to Prince Harry crying about his hardships for 2 hours. Crazy to think like half of that went to Joe Rogan and Bill Simmons. This would make a good podcast. I am shocked. In my lifetime alone, I've listened to hundreds or thousands of hours of podcasting and spent exactly nothing on them. Can't imagine why that isn't a viable business. I'm sorry, but $286 million for a pair of podcast studios. If that's accurate and not a typo, then someone took them for a ride. But they had to make this bet though, cause not owning what you're offering puts you in a precarious position. And I don't think the labels would allow Spotify to sign artists without some form of retribution. Streaming music emo is a product, not a business. It may help bring people into the business line or keep them around. But this isn't where you're making your money in the long term. Spotify sucks for podcasts. They spent all this money for exclusivity without improving their platform. For example, all podcasts that have a narrative go the wrong way because they play the previous episode instead of the next one in the narrative. I know I could queue it or sort. Also, there is no search feature for podcasts in your library, something a lot of their competitors have. When looking for new podcasts, there is no description without going into the About page. No season sort, big one. I could go on. But it is clear they copy and pasted their music platform. When they got Joe Rogan and Bill Simmons podcasts, I was shocked at how much they spent, in the hundreds of millions for each. Those two made out like bandits. Companies love spending piles on things tertiarily related to their product that nobody asked for. This is that. I would rather pay not to listen to Harry and Meghan. To sum this up: 1. Everyone and their brother has a podcast. 2. Many of them are free. Clearly the big brains at Spotify didn't bother to take a look at the arena they were getting into. Out-of-touch corner office assholes are nothing new. They thought it was going to be a money printer. How in God's name do they rake in $6.2 billion and can't turn a profit? Need to have a hard look at their expenses. Here's my thing. When everyone has a podcast, it doesn't matter anymore. Nothing is special or unique. I love sports. But literally every player has a podcast now. There's 5 new ones every day. It's too much. And somewhat pointless. Just because someone is popular doesn't mean they're going to be able to host a podcast people want to listen to. The best podcasts that people flock to are niche needs podcasts that also make you feel like you're hanging with a friend or friends. Or they're people who are naturally funny. Like Conan. And they're usually not hosted by big celebrities. Besides Rogan, no one else has the pull in the Spotify podcasting world. I can't believe paying rich people millions of dollars to host an occasional show hasn't worked. $286 million for 2 studios? That's laundering, right? Damn, I got downvoted to hell for predicting this a couple years back. Spotify rose to the level they got to by providing a better and cheaper option for getting in. Listening to all kinds of music. With podcasts, they spent millions on single shows that were shit. Many with people who had zero experience hosting and who were shit hosts. And thought it was a big play. Nothing they were doing was revolutionary. Podcasts were free, and so it's not like they were providing us with a better or cheaper option of podcasts. The notion of a CEO having an idea and take this long to see how it was the wrong idea plus he keeps his job is the reason capitalism gets a bad rep. This is not the proper way things should play out. By now it's obvious the blitzscaling didn't work and the CEO is an unskilled drifter and basically got lucky. Core misunderstanding of podcasting. Who gives a fuck if old Hollywood has a podcast? It's not a celebrity-driven medium. Besides Joe Rogan, I never even knew or cared that these other people had podcasts. Who the fuck wants to listen to Prince No Balls? They really paid them that much? No wonder. And of course, middle managers and SWE will pay for it. I found out 2 weeks ago that Spotify also has video format podcasts. Spotify has done a horrible job of making that known. I was wondering why they play ads on the Joe Rogan Experience every few minutes now. I can't watch Spotify on my TV. Their engineers are not focused on delivering a good product over there. Good. Another app doing another thing. I already have enough crowding my phone. YouTube covers my music and podcast needs. Plus I can play it on my phone, on the computer, in the car, or on Xbox. I've been a user since launch and I'm not changing now. Wish they'd have spent 1/10 of they on the UIFFS. Months about to switch to my girl's Apple Music. But first, Pearl Jam. Interesting. Spotify is the only place I listen to podcasts, besides YouTube clips. Why are Kim Kardashian and the chick from Suits on the cover? Why can't I just find a music app that has decent music and isn't expensive? Why do they all need some killer app bullshit thing? I just want to listen to something and work out. I've got less than zero interest in the 400 podcasts you're pushing. The books. The narrative streams. The whatever. So glad they can do this but not make a working fucking app. Modern tech companies are so broken in regards to meaningful competition. I watch all my podcasts on YouTube, and I use YouTube Music now because it's cheaper. Last I looked, Spotify doesn't even offer an option to listen to podcasts without commercials cut into them. So I'm shocked they've given any thought to podcasting. I get why they paid Joe Rogan. Nobody wants to hear a fucking ex-president lecture people how they aren't doing enough. They bought studios is beyond me. I haven't seen a single JRE since the switch, not like I'm missing anything important.